It's amazing. Yeah, with
Yeah.
Hypnotic and top, Black Star and being there with Gorillas. Yeah,
And Yasin and Talib are the nicest dudes ever, man. Especially Yasin, he's a really cool dude.
okay.
Whenever I see him now, he like remembers me, and I didn't really interact with him too much,
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
know. But whenever I see him now, he's like, he always shows love, you know, and he's a really cool dude. And he's very
that's what's up.
musically inclined too, like on stage, giving direction and vibing with everybody.
That's what's up,
That's
man.
that's crazy because that was my question. I was gonna say, what was it like just performing with Black Style and the Gorillas? Like, what was that whole experience like? Were you like nervous? Like, I know the exposure was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. Not to say I don't get nervous anymore. I can honestly say I don't really get nervous. It's exciting, like once you. I can't really say I was really nervous on those shows, man. Or like really with Hypnotic in general. It's just with Hypnotic there wasn't a whole lot of rehearsal. There wasn't any really rehearsal. So for the
okay.
most part, it was just like a lot of uncertainty, and then just like being a musician and like communicating on stage and like you got this, like it's
Yeah.
we can start together, we'll end together, we'll follow each other. But those performances were really exhilarating. Just being on those huge stages and playing for all of those people. You know,
Yeah,
it's quite different from playing on a smaller stage, like for example, like a Blue Note situation where like
hmm,
somebody's literally right under your foot. The people when you do festivals, they're like 20 feet back.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't really see them, and you just see like a bunch of heads. But yeah, it's cool. But the energy is great, and I love being on those big stages because it's just loud. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you say you don't really get nervous? That's crazy. Like just seeing all those like seas of people, like I would just be
Not really,
like a deer
man.
in headlights.
I think it's because I've been doing it for so long. Like there was a
Yeah,
time, like I want to say, like during high school, where I was like nervous, and maybe a little bit after high school,
yeah,
I didn't like to play in front of people. I wouldn't really make eye contact. But after doing it for so long, like I just be in a zone now. Like I'll stare at certain places.
yep.
I just get in a zone, and I just let the music take over. So.
That's dope. That's dope, man.
That's dope, man. Sounds like a professional, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you make it to the league, you play in front of crowds, you're not nervous, you just go out and do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't even really pay attention to them. Like sometimes you'll see people dancing and doing crazy stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really pay attention to them much anymore.
that's what's
That's
up.
not that's not what the focus is on. The focus is on providing entertainment and energy, bringing energy to them. So
Yeah,
and depending on the type of music you're playing, you ain't worried about the crowd. You worried about the music that you trying to
yeah.
get
It's
through.
true.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
Yeah,
gonna make
being on
sure you're
point.
on point and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, man.
Hey, so you've been playing with FKA Jazz and Soul Science since 2017. Did you have to adjust your playing style at all to work with them?
Um, Not really. Like FK Jazz, I've kind of been with him. Like I got with him like really early on in my development as a musician, and
Hmm.
he's brought me along, and he pretty much lets me do whatever I want. And it's also like I do a lot of recording with him, and he gives me a lot of creative freedom. I would say with Soul Science, it's kind of the same thing, but with Soul Science, I'm kind of like I call myself like the B team. They have an A team. The A team is like K. Kemp, who was a phenomenal musician and person. He
Yep.
has taught me a lot. Just like not necessarily studying under him, but like learning shows under him to sub for him. He's taught me a
Yep.
lot about like dynamics, playing with like a rapper.
Mm.
Um, and this is like after I've been like doing this for years. Like it's really dope when you have people come along and help you, and give you different tips,
Right.
even after you've been doing it for a long time. And he has a really great way of doing it. Like he'll say, when you go to the verse, don't play. This is like drummer talk. Don't play like the edge of the hi hat. Play like the top, because you can be more
Oh,
articulate and you can play a bit quieter. You know, you're bringing down the dynamics. So, you know, when you go to the hook, you know, open up the hi-hat a little bit, and you know, yeah, you know, and then maybe even sometimes when you're in the verse, slow down a little bit, just a tad bit, so that the vocalist, the rapper, whether it's a rapper or a singer, can be more comfortable, you know, and then you bring the energy up during the hook, you know. So like that I guess that's what I don't know, what was your question? If I learned anything, or do I have to play differently?
No, I'm just saying.
Did you have to adjust?
Yeah, just
style to play.
Yeah, I mean, like their music, the music styles are similar. Like they're all rooted in hip hop, and they have influences from jazz and R&B and stuff like that. But I would just say like a dynamic. It's a dynamic thing where I have to adjust, and you know,
mhm.
that's really it.
That's dope. So they like you know they say you learn something new every day. So that's dope. He was able to you know show you some things and tell you about
Yeah.
some things about playing live and everything.
hmm
Let's get into BD3. You produced the his amazing album Time Era Period. Um, Tell us about working with BD3 and your mindset on the production. Cause it's like a smooth like R&B hip hop. Then you know you sprinkle in some Latin in there on you know on some of the tracks. That you know that's one of my favorite albums. So like give
Oh,
you know give
thank
us some
you.
insight about the yeah man. Give
I
us some
met
insight about your
BD3.
production.
I met BD3 when I was in high school.
Okay.
I didn't really know who he was at the time. I was doing an internship through the Tony Bennett Foundation at this studio. And
Okay.
then I had met him again maybe like 2, 3 years later when I had seen the studio manager. He knew him, and he reminded me that I had met him maybe once or twice in passing. But long story short, we were in a band together, and we just started working on some music. I had been like, I wouldn't say I was producing, but I was like learning production and developing my sound.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't really give beats away for a long time, and then I just happened to like make this beat that worked. And then you know we started working together and formulating that album. Time Era Period is an interesting record because that was when I had first started touring, so I was doing that record in between
Oh,
dates.
okay.
Um, and it's that like that record like we BD3 wanted to make it a point of having three different sections in a song, so or three
Mhm.
different grooves in a song. So, for
Mhm.
example, Green Juice is like a Prince style
Yeah.
record. It goes from like a Prince Kaytranada groove to like a
Yep.
Latin groove, and then
Yep.
Soul in My Cup is like a West Coast. I was like that record was heavily inspired by To Pimp a Butterfly, so like I was heavy into West Coast like
Yeah.
music, you know, and like crip walking kind of stuff. So like Soul in My Cup goes from that, and then it goes to like Afro beats at the
Uh-huh.
end, and then you know I had another song which was on that record called Victorious, which was like inspired by
Yep.
Biggie's Notorious, and then
Yep.
it goes from that like a funk kind of groove thing to like a Kaytranada house. I was also very inspired by Kaytranada at that time too.
Yeah, he dope
Um,
too. Yep.
and I'm sure you heard the new record Sunnydale, which is drastically
Oh yeah.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Drastically
Yep.
different.
Yeah, that's what we was gonna ask you about something because it's yeah they both different. Yep.
Drastically different. And you made mention of like the hip hop and R&B. I love R&B music, like old like Patti LaBelle and you know
Yeah.
Blue Notes, Teddy Pendergrass, and all that kind of stuff. Um, Particularly like '90s R&B, where it was like fused with like it was like hip hop and R&B were like one in the '90s, you know. So that was a big
Yep.
influence on Sunnydale. But
Yep.
I have a thing about having all of my production rooted in hip hop. So whether it's like a singer or melodic song, whatever, it's an R&B song, it's still rooted in hip hop,
Hip
you
hop.
know.
I can keep you with the best if you just fuck with me. I can keep you with the best. I can keep you with the best if you just fuck with me. I can keep you with the best. I'm gonna treat you. I can keep you with the best. Eating good, shopping sprees. I can keep you with the best. Give you what you want. I can keep you with the best if you just fuck with me. I can keep you with the best.
I'm that nigga.